it was a strategy race, but the 11 car was good. I mean, he stayed up front. He deserved to win the race.
They never did really move the groove up real high.
No. I thought maybe it would move out, but it just still stayed a 2-groove racetrack.
I think years ago we used to run higher than that, didn't we?
I used to run clean against the fence.
Yeah.
Our cars are running a lot better this year than it did last year. Last year was lucky to run in the top 20, and right now, if we have a good day, we can run in the top 10. You need to get your Spanish book out so we can talk Spanish next week, okay?
I don't even speak good English.
Ain't that the truth?
The only 2-mile racetrack we got, and it's a good one, ain't it?
It put on a heck of a show.
Sure.
To begin with, it's like all races. Everybody sort of gets in line, sort of figures out where they're at, and then they make a pit stop and stuff, and they start adjusting. And then this one, the first segment was they just run it. Second segment, man, it started off and they got to crashing every other lap, and then it finally got settled down.
But you're talking about the first session, Richard. It was 45 laps, 90 miles, so there's no question about gas or nothing like that.
They
and nobody getting close to getting lapped or anything, so they're just filling each other out.
Yeah, like I say, they really wasn't racing with each other. Everybody's just kind of figuring their car out and figure what they can do and what they can't do, so that if they need to make adjustments when they do stop, then they all got together for the second segment, and they got racy real quick, and they crashed a few of them.
A few of them, yeah, and then the second session, I guess, segment was 75 laps, so that requires a pit stop. So when the first caution come out, they wrecked right early, and that just changed everything for everybody, and people started figuring it different and everything. And
everybody started figuring their gas deal, when to change tires, and
two tires.
Do you wait to the last part of that segment, come in 2 or 3 laps to go, so that when the race restarts, you're up front again? So,
You need to be up front, Richard, but
you definitely do. It showed that really at this racetrack. All super speedways are things over a mile or something, because those guys would run up and catch each other, catch the one in front, and be right dead on his bumper, and then the next time around he'd be 100 yards behind, and then he'd have to work it back. The air just screws up both cars, really.
But they showed a car or two. I know the 45 car one time, and then when the 9 car took the lead one time, they got a running start going in the corner, went in under him, and did not have to slide up, just stayed low.
And you wonder why they don't do that all the time, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they try, but they could keep it low after they went under a car, And then they never did really move the groove up real high.
No. I thought maybe it would move out, but it just still stayed a 2-groove racetrack. Yeah.
And that was on the lower part of the racetrack, too. And I think years ago we used to run higher than that, didn't we?
I used to run clean against the fence up there. And everybody did. The track opened up a whole lot. But, when they did stop and get tires, it didn't seem like that the new tires was that they were better, don't get me wrong, but they wasn't head over heels like there was the week before.
Yeah, there was some 2-tire change,
That's what I'm saying.
And I don't know, Richard. I think a lot of people didn't get to see it because it was on prime television. I had to go to my daughter's house to see it, and I sat and enjoyed it. But I believe the people in the grandstand would have really enjoyed that race.
I would think so, dear, because after for the third segment, I guess, everybody knew what they had to do to try to make the rest of the race on gas and stuff like that. So the people in the grandstand watched the race, and they thought all these people were racing. People on TV, they kept saying, this guy's loafing a little bit because of gas.
Yeah.
Where are we on gas? The people in the grandstand didn't know it wound up being a gas race, okay? But, when you look down at it and the whole deal, the 24 was probably the best car. You know what I mean? But circumstances again, 2 or 3 laps to go, he ran out of gas. leading the race. But and you don't know the 77 was up there, and then he has a flat tire, but they didn't think he could make it on gas anyway.
Yeah, I think he is short on fuel too. But that 77 boy, he's got a lot of speed, Richard.
Yeah, he gets up on that wheel and gets that car going.
He blowed the left rear, and it could have been air pressure. I don't know, but it could have been the setup that he used that tire more than because I think the sidewall's really what give out.
Oh yeah, that's
the 12 car had a tire.
That's what happens. It just flexes the sidewall so much that it just finally gives up.
But when the caution come out one time and the 9 car had took the lead fairly easy and was getting away, and the caution come out and pit road opens and he's the only car that stays out. Lord have mercy. Yeah. Wonder how he felt.
I didn't understand that strategy, especially when they were a pretty good car.
They were good cars.
You mean?
And but he caught a caution later on, and then he had to come in and pit, and he's back there in the crowd, and he's just another car like everybody else.
He can't go nowhere.
Yeah.
That's where the aero deals come in. The guy that's running 15th or 20th, if he gets out front, he leads the race just because he's running good air. And, right at the last of the race, sitting there and you're watching them, and everybody's all sort of running basically the same speed. And then the 11 car decided, I got to do something here. So he starts creeping up on the stuff. And the 5 car, he just really, I think he was running third with 10 laps to go. He just finally to make it not run out of gas, he just give up. And I think he wound up, 5th or something?
Yeah, he wound up 5th.
He just let him go. But and we're looking at the front runners on gas and stuff. Those guys in the back was doing the same thing.
Same thing.
You know what I mean? So the whole complexity of the race came down to, can we make it on gas or can't we make it? Do we need to run hard or do we need to save gas? So it was a strategy race instead of really but the 11 car was good. I mean, he stayed up front. He deserved to win the race because he had it figured out and like I say, he ran good enough to win the race.
But I tell you, another car that got bit bad in the pit was a 45 car. He made his pit stop and could not get out. Didn't have to back up, but he had to stop, wait for the other car to move, and then he moved. And he was a front
for a little bit, but when he got in the back, he couldn't go anywhere anyway.
Well, that's there was nobody back there that could go anywhere.
But
really.
The big deal, just watching the race throughout the whole race, it wound up being a pretty dadgum good race because, again, people were racing all over, but the front runners, they was, 4 or 5 up there that had a chance to win the race with 15 laps to go. So that made it really interesting for me to watch it, and I think for the spectators too.
Yeah, but it was interesting on television. I mean, watching it on television too. But getting back to Eric, of course, we was trying to keep up with him the best we can. He passed a lot of cars, Richard, and they had decent pit stops, but on the last restart, he got off to a bad start and got back to 20th and
yeah. What happened? I think he was running. I'm gonna say 10th or something.
Yeah, right in there.
And he was on the inside, and they threw the green flag, and the 2 cars in front of him didn't go nowhere.
Yeah,
and he got caught, and I mean he went from 10th to 23rd or something in one lap because the guys in front of him didn't go. So he just wound up getting in the wrong lane behind the wrong people. But he came on pretty good there at last. I think he passed 7, 8 cars at the end of the race there.
Yeah, and then, of course, the 24 had, he stopped on the white flag, I guess, and got gas, and he wound up where I can't even find his number. But, getting back to the 43, those points he lost at Martinsville beginning to show up about getting in the playoffs. But that's another story. But
the big deal is that our cars are running a lot better this year than it did last year. Right now, last year was lucky to run the top 20. And right now, if we have a good day, we can run in the top 10.
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, we're heading in the right direction. I just hope they keep going forward.
But the 42 car, at the end of the first stage, he come on pretty good, And like I'm repeating myself, but wasn't nobody in the first stage even close to getting lapped, Richard.
No. Again, once they settle down, everybody basically runs within a tenth of a second of each other. And the 42, on the first deal, somebody hit him and spun him.
Yeah.
I mean, he that wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
Now, what happened the second time, I don't know.
They probably didn't clear enough and they cut a tire down or something. I really don't know because I hadn't talked to nobody. But I don't guess we're going to Mexico, are we?
I'm not going if I have to. Don't have to. But they started letting them in the trucks and stuff like on Monday or Tuesday because they got to go through all the inspection and all this kind of stuff.
But that's taking place in Charlotte, ain't it?
No, it's in Mexico.
Okay, I don't know.
They done got them down there trying to get them all in. So that's going to be something else. Ain't no telling how much it's going to cost each team just to go down there and run that race. So the winner is going to lose money just because of all the transportation. And everybody's got to fly commercial because the company planes are not licensed to go into a different country. So all that stuff is the logistics of the thing. I would hate to have to keep up with them, that's for sure.
Yeah, but they've been working on it a long time. It's all, ain't no telling how
still yet,
doing.
They've got it figured out. That it's just a complicated deal.
I get that.
But when they get there and on Saturday and Sunday they're at the racetrack, nobody bother them, so we'll get back to racing then.
Okay. But I guess there's probably 3 or 4 drivers, I ain't going to call out the names or numbers or anything, just foaming at the mouth because they're road racing.
To get on the road race.
So if I had to pull for anybody, I'm pulling for the good old boys that start out on the dirt tracks and run the half-mile tracks and stuff. So, but I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Well, I'm looking forward to looking at the race. I wasn't looking forward to going down there.
No.
But the big deal is I'm going to be able to watch it on TV, and then I can make my judgments from that part. But I don't even know how the racetrack is
laid out.
I mean, I know it's first class deal because Formula One cars run there. It's the biggest racetrack, I guess, in Mexico. So as far as publicity, so like Indianapolis or Daytona.
I just wonder how many Americans will try to go down there and see the race.
I don't know if we get any of our crowd being spectators going down there. Hadn't talked to anybody that really wanted to go. I know the crew didn't want to go, but they're forced into it.
Yep. So we'll have something to talk about next week too, I hope.
Well, while we're talking, you need to get your Spanish book out, and so we can talk Spanish next week. Okay?
I don't even speak good English.
Ain't that the truth? I guess we did the same thing. It just wasn't brought out as much as it is now. And I can remember running out of gas 2 or 3 times with 1 or 2 laps to go, thinking that you could make the thing. And then I've lost races because I come in, and I've won races because I tried to save gas. So overall, it's basically the same thing. It's just not as it's more out in the open now than it used to be.
Yeah, the difference is we had to fix our own fuel cells. If you can make them a little bit bigger, that was okay and get by with it. I'm not saying it was cheating, but you had to make sure your pickup was in the right place. And in today's world, they know exactly how much gas they got left. They know how much they can pick up. So all that's out the window. And some of my deals was if I had to figure the gas or I had people helping me, I knowed if I went this far, I could go that far again. But I had to be sure that the man filled the car up too. So, and our gas cans, I mean, you can't even compare it to what we had to do years ago. There's just no way.
First night race would have been a place like Bowman Gray or, Islip, New York or something like it, like a little quarter-mile track, because that was the only thing that was lit at that time. And I guess Charlotte was the first big track that they really lit, and that was quite a spectacular deal, because I think they run the hooligan race, whatever, some kind of race, race of champ, whatever they called it. Anyhow, I think they run that to begin with, but they done a bunch of testing over there, and now I guess most all the big tracks now are lit.
A night race. We was at only West Virginia leading the race, and the lights went out, completely out. And, they had flickered during practice that night, and they went out. And everybody stopped, but Richard, he made one more lap. And he said he watched a white curb on the inside and come back around. And I tried to get him to score that lap, but they wouldn't. And they finally got the lights fixed, and I think we come back and won the race. But it was dark, I'm going to tell you.
They were reporters. I think Granger was out of Spartanburg, and I don't know where the other one was from, but they were up on everything. They went to all the races. They knew everybody. They kept records of it. Granger was kind of a history buff. In other words, he if he didn't know something, he'd go find out. And Whitlock, he was right there with him. And at that time, during I guess the early '60s, somewhere along in there, they were our main reporters that went to all the races to get it out to the public.
Yeah, I remember both of them good, and they worked. Like Richard said, they traveled to the race, and I don't know how far out they went with their newspapers and everything, but we also had Benny Phillips out of High Point that came along right then.
At the same time.
They was just so many reporters, and the photographer, what was his name, that took all the pictures,
Yeah, Martinsville.
Yeah.
T. Taylor Warren.
T. Taylor Warren,
yeah.
And they just kind of been forgotten, and it's good that they're brought up, I think.
I'm not going to Mexico City because I was not looking forward to going.
Yeah, I'm not going to Mexico City either. I've done all that out of the state travel I need to do, I think, or out of the country.